The kitchen of Lumiere buzzed with frantic energy. Tyler Evans wiped sweat from his brow as Chef Laurent nodded approval at his plating. Perfection. Take this to table 7. VIP guests. Tyler's hands trembled slightly, balancing the intricate dish of seared scallops with truffle foam. 3 years out of culinary school, buried in student debt, and still waiting tables to supplement his assistant chef's salary. His mother would have been proud of how far he had come, despite everything. As Tyler approached the elegant corner table, laughter rippled through the air. A distinguished man in his 60s gestured animatedly, his Rolex catching the soft lighting. Family is everything in this business. My restaurants succeed because I never forget what matters most. Tyler froze. The voice, that profile, 20 years older but unmistakable. William Parker, his father. The plates nearly slipped from Tyler's grasp. William continued, oblivious to the storm brewing inside his server. My son just graduated Harvard Business School, following in my footsteps. That's what legacy means. Tyler's name tag read simply Tyler. He dropped the surname Parker years ago, after his mother died alone in a hospital bed, her hand clutching old photos of a family that never was. Your scallops, sir, Tyler managed, voice steady despite the earthquake in his chest. Their eyes met briefly. No recognition flickered in William's gaze, just the practiced smile of a wealthy patron barely seeing the staff. Appreciate it, young man, William replied, already turning back to his companions. As I was saying, I'm considering acquiring this place. Lumiere would make a fine addition to the Parker Restaurant Group. Tyler retreated, pulse thundering. The man who abandoned them when Tyler was 8, who left his mother working double shifts at the diner, who disappeared completely when Tyler first showed signs of being different. That man now sat eating food Tyler had helped prepare, in the restaurant that had become Tyler's refuge. Some wounds time doesn't heal. Some absences become presents. Tyler knew exactly what he had to do. If this story of lost connections and unexpected encounters resonates with you, subscribe to HeartStories for more tales that remind us how the past shapes us, but never defines us. The last patrons exited Lumiere into the cool Manhattan night. Only William Parker remained. Reviewing acquisition documents over a final glass of wine, Tyler removed his apron, ignoring his coworkers' curious glances. 20 years of questions burned in his throat as he approached the table. Can I help you with something else? William looked up, mild irritation crossing his features. You really don't recognize me, do you? Tyler's voice emerged steadier than he felt. William squinted, then shook his head. Should I? I'm Tyler Evans, though I was born Tyler Parker. The words hung between them like smoke. Your son. William's glass froze midway to his lips. Color drained from his face as recognition dawned. Not from the adult standing before him, but from ghosts of the past reflected in Tyler's eyes. Tyler, William whispered, setting down his glass carefully. This is unexpected. 20 years unexpected, Tyler replied. You disappeared when I was 8. Mom never recovered. William composed himself quickly, straightening his Italian suit. Your grandparents made it clear I wasn't welcome. I wasn't financially stable then. Couldn't provide. Mom worked 2 jobs to put food on our table while you vanished. Tyler cut in. Now you sit here in your $5,000 suit talking about family values. William sighed. I sent money in the beginning. 3 checks. Mom kept them. Never cashed them. Then nothing. Silence stretched between them. William glanced at his watch. A nervous habit, not a dismissal. What your mother never told you, William began cautiously, was the full reason I left. She didn't have to, Tyler replied. I found her journals after she died, 3 years ago. Cancer. You weren't there. William's eyes widened. Helen died, I didn't know. You didn't want to know, Tyler said. Her journals explained everything. You didn't just leave because you were broke. You left because you saw me playing with dolls instead of trucks. You told Mom you couldn't raise a son who might be, Tyler's voice caught, gay. William stared at his hands. Shame etched across his face. The expensive restaurant suddenly felt small, the distance between father and son both inches and infinite. I was different then, William finally said. I made mistakes that haunted me for years. When I heard you were attending culinary school, I wanted to reach out, but... Wait, Tyler interrupted. How did you know about culinary school? William hesitated, his fingers tracing the stem of his wine glass. I've kept track of you, from afar. Tyler's expression hardened. So you abandoned us, but still felt entitled to spy on our lives. Did Mom know? Did you ever once think to actually help her when the medical bills were drowning her? Before William could answer, the restaurant door opened. A young woman with confident stride approached their table, her leather jacket adorned with the activist pins, her smile fading as she sensed the tension. Dad? Sorry I'm late. The LGBTQ Youth Center meeting ran long. Sometimes life's greatest ironies arrive with perfect timing. The past we run from has a way of circling back, forcing us to confront who we once were and who we've become. No amount of distance can fully separate us from the choices that shaped our journeys. William's face paled further as the young woman reached their table. She wore a pride pin on her leather jacket, her expression shifting from warmth to confusion as she sensed the tension. Samantha, William stammered, this is an unexpected meeting. Dad, Samantha looked between the two men, her intuition already connecting invisible dots. Samantha Parker. She introduced herself to Tyler, extending her hand. Tyler didn't take it. Tyler Evans. Apparently your father's other child. Samantha's hand dropped slowly as comprehension dawned. Other child, Dad. What is he talking about? William's composed facade crumbled. It's complicated, sweetheart. This was before your mother. Not just before, Tyler interjected. 20 years ago, your father walked out on me and my mom, never looked back. Samantha turned to William, her voice barely audible. Is this true? William nodded, unable to meet her eyes. Tell her why, Tyler pressed. Tell your proud LGBTQ activist daughter why you really abandoned your first family. Tyler, please, William pleaded. He left because he suspected I might be gay. Tyler continued, eyes locked on Samantha. Found me playing with girl toys and decided he couldn't have a son like that. Samantha stepped back, visibly shaken. Dad, the same man who proudly attended Pride with me last summer, who told me he'd always support me when I came out as bisexual. People change, Sam, William whispered. Into what? Samantha demanded. Someone who pretends to support one child while having abandoned another for the same reason. Do you have any idea how hypocritical that is? William reached for her hand, but she withdrew it. I've grown, learned, William insisted. When you came out 3 years ago, I realized how wrong I'd been. I wanted to make amends. 3 years, Tyler repeated. The same time my mother was dying alone. The coincidence hung heavy in the air. Samantha's eyes widened. You changed after I came out. You joined PFLAG, donated to LGBTQ causes. I thought you were just being supportive, but you were trying to atone, weren't you, for him? William nodded slowly. For both of you, for myself. You never mentioned having another family, Samantha said, voice breaking. Not once in 25 years. The shame was too great, William admitted. Not of Tyler, but of what I'd done. By the time I realized my mistake, it seemed too late to fix it. Tyler scoffed. So you just watched from a distance while creating a whole new life. How convenient. William closed his eyes, shoulders slumping. There's something else you both should know. He looked between his children. These strangers connected by his blood and his failures. I'm sick. Terminal cancer. 6 months, maybe less. The revelation landed like a stone in still water. Ripples of shock spreading across both Tyler and Samantha's faces. That's why I've been pushing to finalize my affairs, William continued. The restaurant acquisitions, the succession planning. I wanted to leave things, right? Samantha sank into a chair while Tyler remained standing, emotions warring across his face. Death had a way of complicating anger, of making permanent what might otherwise be temporary separation. The three sat in silence, a broken family that never truly existed, connected by wounds both fresh and decades old. Truth possesses a gravity all its own, pulling people together not through love or choice, but through the inescapable reality of what is. Sometimes the masks we wear become so convincing that we forget the face beneath, until someone arrives who remembers us as we once were. William reached inside his jacket, retrieving a checkbook bound in leather. His hands moved with practiced precision, the pen scratching against paper as Tyler watched, expression hardening with each stroke. "I can't change the past," William said, voice steady despite his trembling fingers. "But I can help secure your future. This should cover any remaining student loans. Perhaps fund that restaurant you've dreamed of opening." Tyler stared at the check being offered, the amount featuring more zeros than his annual salary. "You think money fixes this?" Tyler's voice remained quiet, but carried the weight of 20 years of absence. "I didn't need your money. I needed a father." "I know," William admitted, lowering the check. "When your mother was in the hospital." "How do you know about that?" Tyler demanded. William hesitated, then reached for his wallet, extracting a worn photograph. A much younger Tyler smiled back, missing front teeth, eyes bright with childhood hope. "I've kept tabs on you both, from a distance." "You were there," Tyler realized, the truth dawning with sickening clarity. "At my culinary school graduation, I thought I saw someone, but convinced myself I was imagining things." William nodded. "Back row. I was proud, but too cowardly to approach you." "You watched my mother die," Tyler said, voice breaking. "You knew she was sick, and you did nothing." "I paid for her treatments," William admitted quietly. "Through an anonymous donor program at the hospital." "She never knew." Tyler stepped back, stunned. "You what?" "I couldn't face her," William said. "Or you, but I couldn't let her suffer if I could help." Samantha watched this exchange, tears streaming silently down her face. "All these years, Dad, you told me I was your only child. I never intended to hurt either of you," William said, his composed exterior finally cracking. "The shame of what I'd done, it was easier to start fresh than face it. By the time I realized my mistake, too much time had passed." Tyler laughed bitterly. "And now that you're dying, you want absolution. Clean conscience before meeting your maker." "Tyler," Samantha began softly. "No," Tyler cut her off. "He doesn't get to waltz back in with terminal illness and checkbooks and suddenly be forgiven." He turned back to William. "You want to know what Mom said before she died? She told me to find happiness despite you. Not because of you. That's exactly what I've done." Tyler stood, pushing the check back across the table. "You were right about one thing all those years ago. We are better off without you." As Tyler walked away, William called after him, voice breaking. "Tyler, wait, please." But Tyler continued toward the exit, shoulders straight despite the weight he carried. William slumped in his chair, the rejected check before him, the photograph still in his hand. He traced Tyler's childhood smile with his thumb, tears finally breaking through his carefully maintained facade. Samantha watched her father, this man she thought she knew, suddenly a stranger weeping over a life she never knew existed. After Tyler disappeared through the door, William pulled out his phone with shaking hands. "Dr. Kessler, it's William Parker. About my estate planning. There are changes I need to make immediately. Sometimes the bridges we burn cannot be rebuilt, no matter how desperately we may try in our final hours. The time for certain choices passes, leaving only the consequences to be borne." William had learned too late that family isn't something to be abandoned and reclaimed at convenience. It's a commitment that, once broken, leaves scars that even death cannot fully heal. A persistent knocking drew Tyler from uneasy sleep. 1 week had passed since the confrontation at Lumiere. 7 days of emotions cycling between rage, grief, and numbness. Dragging himself to the door of his Brooklyn apartment, Tyler found Samantha Parker standing in the hallway, clutching a weathered cardboard box. "How did you find me?" Tyler asked, voice hoarse from another restless night. "Dad's private investigator," Samantha admitted. "Apparently he's been keeping files on you for years." Tyler's jaw tightened, but he stepped aside, allowing her entry into his modest apartment. Samantha placed the box on his kitchen table, removing the lid with careful reverence. "I found this in his office," she explained, extracting a small, faded rainbow bracelet, hand-woven threads frayed at the edges, colors still vibrant despite the years. Tyler's breath caught. "I made that when I was 7. He kept it on his desk, hidden in a drawer, but always there." Samantha continued unpacking the box. Newspaper clippings about culinary school competitions, Tyler's graduation program, even medical reports from his mother's cancer treatments. "He was there," Samantha said softly, "watching from a distance, too ashamed to approach you, but unable to let go." Tyler sank into a chair, examining the evidence of his father's violent vigil. "This doesn't excuse what he did." "No," Samantha agreed, sitting beside him. "Nothing excuses abandonment." They sat in shared silence, these strangers connected by blood and betrayal. "He changed his will," Samantha finally said. 40% of the restaurant group goes to you." Tyler looked up sharply. "I don't want his money." "Then don't take it for him," Samantha suggested. "Take it for yourself, for your mom. Use it to build something that matters." Over the next hour, they discovered shared passions beyond the father who connected them. Tyler's culinary creativity, Samantha's business acumen, their mutual commitment to creating inclusive spaces. "We could open a place together," Samantha ventured. "A restaurant that employs LGBTQ youth facing employment discrimination." "Evans Parker," Tyler mused, surprising himself with the inclusion of the name he'd abandoned. 2 weeks later, Tyler entered Mount Sinai Hospital, heart pounding as he approached room 312. William lay propped against pillows, skin yellowed, body diminished. Their eyes met. No pretense remained between them. Tyler placed an envelope on the bedside table. "From Samantha and me. We're opening a restaurant." William's hand trembled as he opened the invitation to the grand opening of Evans Parker, his eyes filling with tears at the gesture he knew he didn't deserve. "This doesn't mean I forgive you," Tyler clarified, "but it means I won't let your mistakes define my future." On opening night, Samantha greeted guests while Tyler directed the kitchen. A frail William arrived, supported by his nurse, receiving a brief, awkward embrace from his son. Not forgiveness exactly, but acknowledgement. On the wall hung a photograph of Tyler's mother, Helen, beneath words etched in elegant script. "Family isn't who leaves you behind. It's who helps you move forward." What would you do if someone who once abandoned you suddenly reappeared? Would you seek revenge, forgiveness, or something in between? Sometimes the greatest healing comes not from repairing what was broken, but building something entirely new from the pieces left behind. If this story moved you, subscribe to HeartStories, where we believe every broken path can lead to unexpected destinations worth finding.